Protein is essential for muscle building, and getting the best possible sources of it can optimize your muscle building and performance in the gym. I've seen people say that all protein sources are equal, and that is simply just false. Protein is made up of building blocks known as amino acids, and there are 9 essential amino acids you need to obtain from food, those being tryptophan, leucine, isoleucine, lysine, histidine, threonine, valine, phenylalanine, and methionine. If you consume a food containing all of these 9 amino acids, it is said that you are eating a complete protein. If you are not consuming complete protein sources, you are simply hindering your potential muscle growth, as studies have shown that when there was a lack of all essential amino acids, protein synthesis was 50% less. So what are these sources? Today I'm going to try a little bit of a different style of video with a more informal voiceover, so let me know how you like it. Okay, so this is a list we're going to be ranking today. We're going to rank based off of amino acid profiles, nutrient profiles. We're also going to do like taste and affordability for everything on this list here. So we're going to start off with, looks like some fish, some white fish. It could also be like tuna, go in the same category here. I know a lot of people like tuna. Now the issue with some of these canned fish is some concerns with mercury and the amount of mercury that is in these canned fish like tuna. And it's said to like limit your consumption of these to like once, maybe twice a week. I know people that eat it like every single day and they're fine. I'm not exactly sure long term how that would play out. I haven't really checked into any of the mercury stuff. It's not something that I've researched really, but I do understand that there's a concern with it. It is a great protein source though. And for me, the taste is definitely not there. For some people, it is. For me, it's definitely not. It's definitely very affordable. You can buy in bulk a lot of times. It's definitely a complete protein amino acid profile, and it has a really good nutrient profile with a lot of like B vitamins and just general vitamins that fish are going to have. Vitamin D as well, which is definitely really hard to get from food. I always recommend taking a vitamin D supplement anyway, but with all things considered, I'm gonna go ahead and put this in B tier. It's good, but it's not perfect in my opinion just because of the mercury issue, and you know, a lot of people just don't enjoy eating them. Number 2, looks like we have egg whites, an egg white carton. Okay, so egg whites they're good, but the thing about eggs is eggs are very nutrient dense. They're one of the most nutrient dense foods on the planet, and they're known as like nature's multivitamin. Also, like beef liver is known as that. But eggs are extremely nutrient dense, and that nutrient density comes mainly from the yolk. The yolk contains like the choline, the B vitamins, vitamin A, all that stuff. So when you're just eating the white, it's not really like nutrient dense. Yes, the white is what contains the protein. The yolk contains the fat and all the nutrients. So yes, it is a complete protein. It is a good protein source, but we're not ranking based off of just protein source. That is the most important, but it's not nutrient dense. It's just pretty much straight protein. If you look on the back, there's no like other macronutrients like carbs or fat at all. It's just protein. So we're gonna put this in C. It tastes fine. If you cook it on its own, what a lot of people do is they'll put eggs into a pan and they'll just add egg whites and just to add a little more protein. I think that's a good idea. And honestly, this could go B tier if you're doing that, but if you're just eating straight egg whites, you're not really getting any nutrients and you're just doing it for the protein, which there's nothing I have against that, but just take that into consideration. Next, we have chicken breast, it looks like. So chicken breast is definitely the leanest cut, and that means it's gonna have the least amount of fat, and the protein to fat ratio is gonna be the best. Fat is not inherently bad though. That's a completely different video, but specifically chickens their fat is more omega-6 based, which is the inflammatory fatty acid of omega-6 and omega-3. Omega-3 is the anti-inflammatory. So the less amount of fat on chicken, in my opinion, is better. So this is good. It's definitely a complete protein. You'll see a lot of gym bros like chicken, rice, broccoli as like every single meal of the day pretty much. Now that's like really bland. I wouldn't recommend that, but it is a very good protein source. It tastes good if you season it correctly. It's pretty damn cheap. And honestly, it would probably be criminal to not put this in S, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to put it in S. It's a great protein source. Yes, the micronutrient profile is not great, and there's gonna be other things in S above it. And honestly, maybe I'm gonna put it in A for now after considering that.
Honestly, it would probably be criminal to not put this in S.
Because the micronutrient profile that can, like, compared to a lot of other things on this list, just is not there. So the next one we have eggs, straight up eggs. Now, I think a lot of people know where this is probably gonna go based on what I said about egg whites. Eggs are a complete protein with the egg whites being part of them. The egg yolk contains all the minerals, the choline, B vitamins, all that. Super, super healthy. It's very affordable if you get, you know, regular eggs. If you want to go the whole like distance and get pasture raised eggs, which is what I do, go for it. They have more omega-3 fatty acids. Not required. They are better for you, but not required. So I'm going to put this in S. Definitely really, really high quality protein source. You can have a lot of them at once. Definitely eggs. Next we have ground bison. Bison it's a good protein source. It is a ruminant animal, which is essentially like bison, lamb, venison, elk, cows, stuff like that. And it's a red meat source. So personally, I like red meat. I don't have an issue with red meat. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say this one is also going to be an S because the micronutrient profile of meat, specifically like red meat, is just so good. It has so many nutrients. It's a complete protein. Honestly, it's not super affordable, especially bison. You know what? I'm going to put that in A. I'm going to put it above chicken since it's more nutrient dense, but the price is definitely high on bison. Now we have ground elk. This is the same deal. I honestly would say these are essentially the same thing almost. Taste, I've honestly never had elk. Bison is, in my opinion, worse than ground beef in terms of taste, but elk, I've never had. I've had venison.
We do not care.
Elk, I'm probably going to put also in A tier, just because I'm assuming it's not as affordable as something like ground beef. Correct me if I'm wrong. If this is affordable, it would go in S tier, but I'm assuming it's not. So it's going to go right below bison. Next, we have, looks like cod. So cod is really good for you because of the fat. And same with salmon, I can see on the list here. It's going to have a lot of omega-3 fatty acids, especially if you get a wild caught version of any type of fish, really. It's going to have more nutrients. It's going to be better for you. But wild caught is way more expensive. It is definitely not economical. And if you don't want to buy that, just farm raised is fine. It has a lot of nutrients. It's a complete protein. It is, in my opinion, very tasty. But, you know, a lot of people I know don't like seafood. So if that's you, then this would probably go in A. But for me, I'm going to go with S. Essentially, fish is just a great, great protein source. Now we have ground turkey. Okay, so ground turkey, for me, I mean, the taste is definitely not there for me. I am gonna just automatically put this at the bottom of A, and honestly, this could go top of B as well, and I might consider moving that. It's a complete protein. In my opinion, it's not super tasty. It is affordable, and for that reason, I'm probably gonna keep it in A. It's essentially the same as chicken in terms of nutrient profiles, but ground turkey specifically is it's just not it for me. I don't know. If it is for you, then that is a good protein source. You could even put it in S if you wanted. A lot of people are probably going to get mad since I don't have chicken in S, but that's just due to the micronutrient profile. So we have whey protein next. Whey protein is, I'm going to put this in S automatically, and a lot of people might get mad at that. And protein powder is a very controversial food source, and that's because a lot of people think protein powder is bad for you because it's like unnatural. Now, I know obviously not everyone thinks that, but a lot of people do. And it's not that it's unnatural. It comes from the protein in cow's milk. That's what the protein powder is made from. So you're essentially just drinking a flavored cow's milk when you add it to like water. But it's just the part of the cow's milk that's with protein. So it's just taking the protein out of the milk, usually flavored, and then you add it to a drink. Now, for this specific whey protein, I don't know what I've seen that brand before. I don't know what that brand is called. I forget. But that brand specifically, and a lot of big brand whey proteins in the stores, yes, they are not great for you. They might make your stomach feel like pretty bloated. You might have issues with your stomach after drinking it, or just, you know, combining it with, I don't know, pancakes or something. I've seen people do a lot of different protein recipes, but this is not amazing for a lot of people's stomachs, and that's because it has the properties of dairy, and a lot of people can't digest dairy. Now, another reason is they have a lot of additives in it, like gums and, you know, binders and fillers. I might actually consider putting this, I know I instantly put it in S, but I think I'm gonna put it at the top of A, just because it's super convenient. You can add it to you can put it in like a Hilo mix bottle and just shake it up with water and just have like chocolate flavored water, and it's gonna have like 25-30 grams of protein. That's awesome. If that's an easy way for you to get your protein, then there you go. I don't have a huge problem with it, but if you can get a high quality protein without these fillers and binders, that is gonna be your best bet. There's not a whole lot of brands that have that, but if you can find that, that would be S tier. Next, we have beef jerky. So beef jerky I actually really love beef jerky. It has a lot of sodium, but a lot of people are scared of sodium. It's really not a huge deal. It's really not. Beef jerky has a lot of sodium. It can be an issue if you're eating like a bunch of bags of it at once. Another big issue is this is like really expensive. Like, it is expensive. It's really not worth your money, in my opinion, when you could just get something like ground beef and cook it up and just like meal prep, or even chicken, meal prep it. So I'm gonna put this at top of B tier. It's a good protein source, it's complete, it's very convenient. You can literally just bring it on a trip, you can bring it on like in a car ride, you could bring ground beef on a car ride as well in like a container if you're willing to go that length, but it's just so convenient. You can buy it at a store and just instantly eat it. Just, you don't get the value that you should be getting. What is that? Is that just ground? Oh, that's ground lamb, okay. Ground lamb is, I'm gonna put it just within these three. Same deal. It's not super economical. It's a good micronutrient profile, complete protein. Honestly, pretty tasty, I think. Yeah, so not much to say there. It's essentially the same reasons as bison and elk. We have Quest protein bars next. Okay, these I used to eat a lot of, and they used to really, really destroy my stomach. It's kind of the same with like the whey protein. It's a complete protein because most of these companies, I'm not talking just about Quest here, like every company for protein usually uses whey protein. You can find some protein sources or protein bars with plant protein like pea protein or a soy-based protein, and that is going to be probably better on some people's stomachs, but honestly, those type of proteins can also be rough on people's stomachs. It really depends on the person. You got to test it out yourself. But I'm going to put this bottom of B, and that's because yes, it's very convenient, but protein bars are pretty expensive. They're tasty for sure, but they just have so many additives. They sometimes have sugar. I know Quest bars have erythritol, which is a artificial sweetener. I'm not a fan of any of that, and personally I would rather just have a whole protein source like eggs or beef or something like that, and I'm actually gonna put it in top of C if it would let me. There we go. Next we have salmon. This is just gonna be automatically an S tier, and that's because salmon is so nutrient dense. It has, yes, it's like I said with the cod, it can be expensive. What the cod looks like, it's like in a bag that looks like it would be frozen. Those are usually cheaper. So if you get that, it can be cheaper, but like I said, the wild caught is definitely more expensive. But it has a lot of omega-3 fats. It has a really, really good micronutrient profile, one of the best micronutrient profiles of any protein source. It's a complete protein, and it's tasty in my opinion. Like I said earlier, with the canned fish, at this point in the world, wild caught fish can sometimes have mercury issues, and they just have a lot of issues now essentially with all fish. Farm fish is not, great for you, and now wild caught is really going downhill as well just because of pollution in the oceans, but I'd still put it in S for the time being. Shrimp. Now, shrimp for me is going to go top of A just because I don't love shrimp personally. Now, if I was ranking this based off of other people's preference, I would put it in S just because it's a really good protein source. Like I said, it's a really good micronutrient profile. It's seafood, so it's going to go the same as cod and salmon, but these are tasty in my opinion. This is not as tasty. It's controversial because I know a lot of people love shrimp, but for me, it's just not up there with these two in terms of taste. It's definitely pretty good on the wallet, I think. I don't really eat shrimp that much, but yeah, I'm gonna put it at top of A just because it's a great protein source. Organic protein, it looks like pea protein, so I'm gonna put this. Protein powder, the whey protein powder is good at A, and pea protein, there were studies done a year or two ago, and it showed that like vegetable proteins like brown rice protein, pea protein, soy-based proteins were not complete amino acid profiles. And that's because it didn't contain methionine as one of the amino acids, which is one of the amino acids for a complete protein. Now that was a couple years ago, and they did discover that this is actually technically a complete protein now. If you are vegan, if you are vegetarian, whatever, and you don't want to eat whey protein because it's dairy based, fine, this is fine. I am going to put it probably bottom C. Honestly, I can even go D. I really am not a fan of this. I've had it before. It doesn't go great with a lot of people's stomachs. If you think you can digest it better than whey protein, go for it, but I'm gonna go ahead and throw that in C. Next, we just have, looks like a solid steak, and I'm gonna just throw this up here. I'm gonna keep it below eggs just because eggs are so good, both taste wise and nutrient profile wise. But red meat is extremely good for you, and it's not something I think you should be scared of. The fat is extremely healthy, like omega-3, especially if you get grass-fed and grass-finished red meat. Nutrient profile is extremely good. A lot of B vitamins. You know, it has like zinc, iron, you know, like a pretty much almost complete micronutrient profile. And it also is a complete protein. So that is going to go in S. It's extremely tasty. This is tilapia. Same deal as the other fish. Now, tilapia, in my opinion, is not as good as the other two up here, so I'm going to put it last. It's the same reasonings. Fat content, awesome. Protein, awesome. Amino acid profile, awesome. Its taste isn't as good, I think. Affordability is good, so not much explaining there. This looks like tofu. Tofu is going to go in the same category as these down here. And that's because tofu and organic pea protein is essentially, in my opinion, the same. Tofu, you know, I'm going to actually put it in D because I think tofu is disgusting, but that's opinion based for sure. I'm going to put it in D just because the taste is really not good, in my opinion. It's not a great protein source. Yeah, I mean, like the pea protein, it was discovered. It is a complete protein now. It didn't used to be. But yeah, I mean, D is just where I'm going to throw that. Ground beef, I think it's going to go, I'm actually going to put it above just the standard steak. And that's because the steak is probably just a little less convenient to take with you places. Ground beef is just super convenient. You can chop it up, throw it with some rice, avocado, you know, broccoli, whatever you want. And that's a great meal right there. It's the same deal as the other red meat. Complete micronutrient profile, complete amino acid profile. I think it's really tasty if you make it the right way. Definitely S for that. But I don't even know what this is. This looks like some sort of other red meat in these categories. I am just gonna throw it there just because I don't even know what that is. It could be like venison or something like that, but it's in the category of these other ones. And honestly, I'm not sure why. That should be bottom A tier in my opinion. So that's gonna stay there. So this is my list. Nothing goes in no gains just because these all have protein. Okay, they all have protein. Even these soy-based proteins, they have, and this is egg whites. That should go up there. Even though these are soy-based, like vegetable-based proteins, they still have protein. They're still complete. If you like them, if you're vegetarian, whatever, fine. If it's fine on your stomach, cool. If it's not fine on your stomach, I would definitely recommend not eating it. There was a couple things on this list a couple things that were not on this list that I would like to have in here, and that would be like nuts and legumes. And a lot of people think, I just want to review it quick, because a lot of people think nuts and beans are great protein sources, and I'm not saying they're not, because they're good for you, they're tasty, their micronutrient profile definitely isn't up to par with these S and A tiers. They're affordable though, most of the time, but their amino acid profile is not complete, and because of that, I would probably put them down here in C. Depending on the nut, depending on the legume, could be B, but I would say nuts and legumes just overall would go down in C. So if you're eating nuts and legumes thinking you're getting a lot of protein, you're probably not, because it's not complete protein. You're still getting protein, just not complete protein. And if that's a way that you can get your protein and healthy fats in, cool. So this is my list here. If you want to have the best gains possible and the best experience, like gaining muscle and, you know, just taste wise and everything, and, you know, price wise, I would say go with these S tiers. You can, you know, dabble into the A tiers, dabble into the B tiers, especially something like egg whites where you can add it to the eggs. And then these ones are obviously just not. If you want to eat them at sometimes, fine. But there's definitely substitutes for like the tofu, like even shrimp. And then obviously these two protein powders. Quest, if you want, it's convenient. I sometimes have a Quest bar every once in a while just because, you know, they're really good and they're protein. So, but this is my list. You can screenshot it if you want, and this is what I would recommend if you are starting your muscle building journey, or if you are currently on it looking for more like protein sources. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.